Hello friends, in this video we're going to talk about number 4 of the 9 themes of enlightenment. And the fourth theme is the one is in the heart, or God is in the heart, or Creator is in the heart, or Spirit is in the heart. This idea comes up again and again in many different sources. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita speaks of how the Supersoul, or the One Spirit, is found in every heart. Jesus places the treasure that cannot be destroyed in the heart. The Upanishads mention the heart again and again and how it is the dwelling place of Brahman, of the Lord, of the Spirit. All the profound moments I've had personally always started with a surrender to the heart. It's a feeling like you completely let go and a dam falls and water comes rushing forth. This is just to use a metaphor. And that energy that flows forth comes from the heart. It feels like it's coming from the heart. That feels like the fountainhead, the source of this energy, this love, this consciousness. And it feels like a surrendering to it and a humble allowance of its energy to come forth and blossom forth within you. And it feels like it is the house of the higher power. It is a moving from the constant commentary, the mental dialogue, the egoic, survival, competitive desires and fears, and moving into the heart of the innocent, the meek, the humble allowance of the moment and the awareness of the present moment, and looking out in wonder and innocence upon everything. The heart is the house of the macrocosmic energy in the microcosm. It is the dwelling place of our source. Listen to your heart is a kind of a cheesy advice we hear again and again, kind of cliche, but it is important, and I think it's on point. Listen to your own heart. That is your true compass to what you should follow. There's a fascinating book about the scientific discoveries of the importance of the heart and the intelligence of the heart, and it's called The Heart's Code. I highly recommend checking that out. Now, the heart is the fourth chakra in the yogic Kundalini system, in the chakra system, and it's called Anahata. And here's a quote describing the interesting meaning of Anahata. The elevation of the human will to aims transcendent of this bestial order of life requires, according to the yogic model, an awakening that will not be of the pelvic region, but of chakra 4, which is of the heart. The name of this transformative center, Anahata, has the curious meaning not hit, which is interpreted as signifying the sound that is not made by any two things striking together. For every sound heard by the physical ear is of things rubbing or striking together. That of the voice, for example, is of breath on the vocal cords. The one sound not so made is the great tone or hum of the creative energy, Maya Shakti, of which things are the manifestations or epiphanies. And the intuitive recognition of this creative tone within a phenomenal form is what opens the heart to love. What before had been an it becomes then a thou, alive with the tone of creation, an awakening, metaphorically, to a new world, the promised land, and to life in the spirit, the virgin birth. That is a quote from Joseph Campbell, The Inner Reaches of Outer Space. The interesting meaning, Anahata, not hit. So if everything's one thing, there's nothing to strike each other. There's no opposing forces to collide. It is all one. As is one's consciousness, so one becomes. That is the eternal secret. The mind should be kept in check until it has dissolved into the heart. This is both knowledge and liberation. The rest is just multiplication of books, the Upanishads. This is one of my favorite quotes. The mind should be kept in check until it has dissolved into the heart. To me, that sums up the goal of enlightenment, or the path of enlightenment, in one line. Keep the mind in check, the constant commentary, the perceptions, basically the ego. Keep it in check. Come to stillness, come to silence, and dissolve it into the heart. Surrender into the heart's presence and energy. This leads to both knowledge and liberation. So basically, surrendering to the heart leads to enlightenment. The rest is just multiplication of books, basically saying all the other stuff is just commentary and yada, yada, yada. And it makes it very simple, right? Really, it's moving from the head to the heart. It's from moving from fear to love. It's moving from the viewpoint of I am alone to we are one. It is moving back to spirit. He who was born before heat, who before the waters was born, who has seen through living beings, entering the cave of the heart, one sees him abiding there. It's from the Upanishads. If you want to encounter and experience the Creator, the Source, Spirit, the Tao, Brahman, love, look within your own heart. This person here in the heart is made of mind, is of the nature of light, is like a little grain of rice, is a grain of barley. This very one is ruler of everything, is Lord of everything, governs this whole universe, whatsoever there is. The Upanishads. As the innermost self of all, he dwells within the cavern of the heart. The Lord of love is the one self of all. Realize the self hidden in the heart and cut asunder the knot of ignorance here and now. Bright but hidden, the self dwells in the heart. He is the source of love and may be known through love, but not through thought. He is the goal of life. Attain this goal. Realize him as the one behind the many and stop all vain talk. The self reveals himself to the one who longs for the self. The Upanishads. This is another one of my favorite quotes. It can't be realized through thought, through intellectualizing it. It has to be approached through love, through the heart's energy, right? We can't fully understand it with our own minds. We need to surrender to it and surrender to the love. And we must long for it. We must long for that connection that we miss, that connection and feeling with the universe, with spirit. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. It's from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna. Therefore, having been born in this transient and forlorn world, give all of your love to me. Fill your mind with me. Love me, serve me, worship me always. Seeking me in your heart, you will at last be united with me. That is from Krishna again, the Bhagavad Gita. Make purses for yourselves that do not wear out, an unfailing treasure in heaven, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. From Jesus in Luke. The only path that is right for you is the one that is already designed within you. To find this path, you have to hear your own heart. While the small mind, in its fear, is rigid and controlling, the deeper part of you will begin to whisper the truth of your eternal safety and your oneness with God. So listen to your heart. This is where your light is and your truth. That's from Emmanuel's book. Where then shall God be found? Search not in distant skies. In man's own heart he lies. Shao Yung. All that is necessary is to look into one's own heart, for what God asks of us is not found at a great distance. St. Jerome. Now among the Pueblo Indians in New Mexico, I made friends with an interesting fellow who was the chief of religious ceremonies. He confessed to me that they believed all Americans were crazy because they said they thought in the head, whereas the Indians knew that the normal thing was to think in the heart. That is from Carl Jung. The Christ within you is a frequency that is aligned within the heart center, and it glows like a flame, and it brings to it that vibration and frequency that co-resonates with it. And that which it brings to co-resonance is the Creator. That is from Paul Selig. I think all spiritual advice, boiled down to its most concentrated form, and to put into one sentence, would be surrender to the light in your heart, or surrender to the will, consciousness, power, presence in your heart. What led me to start searching was these experiences of my heart opening, and they were always very humbling. I'd start to sob. It began as a panic attack and a kind of like freaking out, and then a surrender, a mental surrender, and then this energy within the heart blossoming and coming forth, and it felt like a grander presence. It felt parental, like a loving mother that came and embraced me. And ever since that experience, I went looking, and when I found these quotes, they were spot on the feeling. And this is why I think these quotes, especially the ones from the Upanishads about the heart, are my favorite, because it describes how this one being, this creator, this spirit, or the Lord, or the goddess, is found in the heart and is in the hearts of all of us. And if we would only surrender to it, become humble, and not humble in a negative sense, but a very positive sense, just silent and allow, and to feel its presence, and to listen to its will, what it would have you do, which is always love, we would all be much better off. I think a very potent meditation too is to just sit, eyes closed, and to focus on the heart. Try to move your center of, or your focal point of perception from the heart instead of from the head. And you begin to kind of feel its warmth, you begin to feel its love. listen to the heart. Thank you for watching.